So I had a cheap voice changer Vader helmet, and I saw the Adam Savage video about the Obi-Wan mask where Obi-Wan strikes Vader and cuts his mask, and I thought, that's cool, I want to make one of those. So I've done a video already how I marked out, cut with a Dremel, used a bit of hot copper pipe and melted it. I want to talk quickly about paint, so let's have a look at it. So this is the voice changer helmet that came out, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. It is cheap and nasty and don't actually even look that much like Vader, but it will do for what I want. So it was shiny-ish black plastic, and if you look at Darth Vader through the different films, his helmet isn't always super glossy, but it is in some, and that's the look I wanted, super glossy. So I hit the whole thing by hand with sandpaper in my hand, 320, to scuff up the plastic so the paint would stick. I put a coat of filler primer on and then flattened it with some 400, another coat of filler primer, let it cure, hit it again with some 400, then a coat of gloss black, let that dry, then another coat of gloss black, hit everything with 600 to make it flat, and then another 2 coats. The reason why I've gone for 4 coats is because I want to flat this and make it look shiny. So this looks shiny at the moment, and this is what they call gun finish. That's what they call it in the trade. So if you look at a reflection, you can see that, but you actually can see there, like, it's not that as shiny as you think. And yeah, you can read the reflection, but it's not, you can't read the text very well there. So I bought some 3M sandpaper. 3M I think is the best. This is what car body people use. So you go first off with 1000 grit, and I use it with soap and water just because it helps lubricate the paper, stops it dragging. So I've hit one side with 1000, then 1200, and then these things are nearly $10 a disc. They're ridiculous. And if you look at them, actually I remember showing someone in England one of these, and they went, oh yeah, that's really smooth. And they were actually feeling the Velcro on the back. This thing looks like that. It is 3000 grit, and basically you're going to keep buffing it and buffing it and buffing it until you remove all the scratches put in by the 1000 and the 1200, and then you're going to hit it with some cutting compound or rubbing compound. Now most people just want to either leave it gun finish, or they want a machine to do all this. So they use an electric sander, and they will use some kind of powered sander to use the polishing compound. Really easy to overheat the paint when you're using rubbing compound. So I do everything by hand. So I've sanded this side by hand and this side only. So this has been sanded by hand, and 3000, and then rubbing compound, and you can kind of see the difference. Look at you see it there? Let's look at the differences. So there's a lot less flaws in it, but it's still not perfect. If you look at it in the light, there's still swirly marks, so I need to get rid of the swirly marks. So that means more rubbing by hand. Yes, I'm going to spend a lot of time polishing my helmet. Well done, people at the back. So yeah, you can see the difference there. Look at the reflection of the lights, and then look at the reflection of the lights. I don't want gun finish. I mean, that you can see there, look, texture in the paint. And it's hard with a rattle can to get a real decent paint job. But yeah, with some polishing and some buffing, this thing will be glorious. I'm going to then hit all this part of the mask as well, and then hit the whole thing at the end with some wax. Now this is going to live inside a glass cabinet when I'm finished on a display base. The red lights will be underneath. When you see in the TV show, he's holding his lightsaber, and I thought it looked a really cool effect. This thing will also be lit from above, and I'm also going to do, eventually I'm going to do some colour with some airbrush around the cut. So this thing will live in a glass case, because the other problem is people don't realise, I mean, this is ridiculous amount of hours now, probably 10-15 hours to get this where I want it. So it's super smooth and super glossy, and then people go, oh, can I try it on? And they pick it up, and jewellery and everything scratches it, watches scratch it. No different to a car. And I mean, if you're watching this and you've got a car, get something with print on it, take it out and look at it in the reflection in the paint, and you'll realise that there's a difference between a Bentley and a normal run-of-the-mill car. Bentleys have got mirror finish like this, where you can actually get a real sharp image, whereas most cars on the market now are what they call gun finish. However, it comes out of most cars are dipped now at the factory. But yeah, look at that, all that texture in that paint. So when I start rubbing on this with 1000, it goes all mottled, and then eventually it goes flat, and it will look really dull and flat black. But so you keep working your way through the grits and you end up with something like that. This ain't finished yet. Yeah, it'd be quicker with an electric sander. I ain't using an electric sander, it's easy to overheat the paint. The reason why I put 4 coats of paint on it is it's easy to go through the paint. If you go through it, you've got to start all over again. So yeah, if I had friends or whatever, I probably wouldn't be spending my hours doing this. But I think I've mentioned in other videos, and if you're watching, you know, familiar with the channel, I am going to build a bar at some point with all my film props in. So this will live in a glass case where people can't touch it, but they can look at it and you'll just see the front view, and then there'll be a mirror on the back and 2 mirrors on the sides, and this thing will be lit up from above, and then also have the red light built into a oak base on the bottom. It'll all make sense eventually. But yeah, from a cheap voice changer helmet to something that will hopefully look half decent at the end. But there are no shortcuts, there's no quick way to do this. It's buy quality paper. You will be amazed at how much difference sandpaper makes. You know, you go to Ace Hardware or your local hardware store, they ain't going to carry anything that's 3000. And say this will actually remove the scratches from the other stuff. I've seen people use this on glass. Get scratches out of glass is that good. But say that's nearly $10 for 1 pad. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I'll do another video as we get the, you know, nearer to it done. And then I've also bought some of this weather stripping foam, which I'm going to stick on the inside of the helmet so that this actually sits on the right place on the head, and all the top pieces will all line up eventually. So yeah, Vader, work in progress.